Have you ever opened your eyes at 2:13 in the morning and suddenly felt completely awake? You look at the clock. You tell yourself, "It's okay, I'll fall back asleep." But 5 minutes pass, then 10, then 20, and suddenly your mind starts racing. You think about tomorrow. You think about your health, your family, your finances, the things you forgot to do. And the more you try to force yourself back to sleep, the more awake you become. If you are over 50 and this happens to you regularly, there is something important you should know. Waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning does not automatically mean something is seriously wrong. As we get older, our sleep can naturally become lighter and more easily interrupted. You may fall asleep earlier. You may wake up earlier. And you may notice that you don't sleep as deeply as you did when you were younger. But here's the important part. You don't want to simply blame everything on aging. Because sometimes, the reason you keep waking up has more to do with your daily habits, your medications, stress, or an underlying sleep problem. And tonight, we're going to talk about 7 things you should know if you regularly wake up around 2 or 3 in the morning. Some of them are surprisingly simple. And number 7 is especially important because there are situations where you shouldn't just try to sleep through it. So let's start with the first one. Number 1. Waking up during the night can become more common after 50. Think about someone named John. John is 62. When he was younger, he could sleep until 7 in the morning without even moving. Now, he wakes up once or twice during the night, sometimes at 2, sometimes at 3, sometimes around 4. And his first thought is, something must be wrong with me. Not necessarily. Sleep patterns can change as we age. The important question is not simply, do I wake up? The better question is, what happens after I wake up? If you briefly wake up, roll over, and fall back asleep, and you feel reasonably rested the next morning, that may not be a major concern. But if you wake up night after night, stay awake for a long time, and feel exhausted, sleepy, or unable to function normally during the day, that's different. And this brings us to something most people don't think about. Sometimes the problem doesn't actually begin at 2 or 3 in the morning. It begins several hours earlier. And that's exactly what we're going to look at next. Number 2. Look at what you're doing before bedtime. This sounds simple, but it can make a bigger difference than many people realize. Let's go back to John. John gets tired around 9:30, but instead of getting ready for bed, he sits down with his phone. He watches one video, then another. Then he checks the news. Then he answers a few messages. Before he knows it, it's almost 11 o'clock. He finally puts the phone down. He falls asleep. And then, around 2:30 in the morning, he's wide awake. John assumes the problem is his age, but what happened before bed may be part of the picture. Things like caffeine later in the day, alcohol, long or late naps, irregular sleep schedules, heavy meals close to bedtime, and stimulating activities right before bed can make it harder for some people to maintain good sleep. You don't need to change your entire life tonight. Start small. Try keeping your bedtime and wake-up time relatively consistent. Avoid a long nap late in the afternoon. Give yourself some quiet time before bed. Keep your bedroom dark, quiet, and comfortable. And if possible, don't turn your bed into an entertainment center. Your bed should become a signal to your brain that it's time to rest, not a place where you spend an hour scrolling through bad news. But there's another mistake people make when they wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning. And strangely enough, it's one of the easiest mistakes to make. They look at the clock, 2:07. They close their eyes. Then they look again, 2:19. Then 2:31. And suddenly they're doing math in their head. If I fall asleep right now, I can still get 3.5 hours. Then 10 minutes later, now I only have 3 hours. That creates pressure, and pressure is not exactly what your brain needs when you're trying to sleep. So number 3 is this. Don't turn the middle of the night into a battle against the clock. If you wake up, try not to immediately reach for your phone. Don't start calculating how many minutes of sleep you have left. And don't tell yourself, tomorrow is going to be terrible. Instead, keep the environment calm. Keep the lights low. Take slow breaths. Give your body a chance to settle. And if you're still completely awake after a while, there is another strategy you may want to consider. We'll get to that next. Because sometimes, staying in bed and trying harder to sleep is actually the wrong approach. Number 4. Don't force yourself to sleep. This sounds strange, doesn't it? You might think, of course I should stay in bed. I need to sleep. But here's the problem. When you're lying there thinking, I have to sleep now, your brain can start treating sleep like a test, and suddenly you're monitoring everything. Is my heart beating too fast? How many hours do I have left? Why can't I fall asleep? What's wrong with me? Tomorrow I'm going to be exhausted. The cycle continues. One thought creates another, and before you know it, you're wide awake. For people struggling with ongoing insomnia, one commonly used approach is called cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, or CBTI. One principle used in this approach is to avoid spending long periods awake in bed. If you're completely awake and unable to sleep, you may get up for a little while. Go somewhere quiet. Keep the lights low. Read a few pages of a calm book. Listen to something relaxing. Then, when you begin feeling sleepy again, return to bed. The goal isn't to punish yourself, and it isn't to stay awake all night. The goal is to avoid turning your bed into a place where you lie awake worrying. And remember, you don't have to fix your sleep in one night. Now, there's another reason many people over 50 wake up during the night, and this one is extremely common. They wake up because they need to use the bathroom. You probably know the feeling. You finally fall asleep. Then suddenly, you have to get up. You walk to the bathroom, you come back to bed, and now, you're awake again. Sometimes this happens once, sometimes several times. And many people simply say, well, I'm over 50, that's normal. But don't automatically assume that. Nighttime urination can become more common as we age, and the amount and timing of fluids, medications, and certain health conditions can all play a role. This doesn't mean you should stop drinking water. Please don't do that. Your body still needs adequate hydration. But if you regularly drink a large amount of fluid right before bed, it may be worth discussing your timing with your healthcare professional. And if you're getting up to urinate repeatedly every night, especially if the problem is new or getting worse, it's worth mentioning to your doctor. Because the goal isn't simply to find a way to stay asleep. The goal is to understand why your sleep is being interrupted. And sometimes, the reason is something you may not even notice yourself. You may actually be waking up because your breathing is being interrupted. And that brings us to number 6. Number 6. Don't ignore loud snoring, gasping, or breathing pauses during sleep. Imagine a man named Robert. He's 67. He goes to bed early. He believes he sleeps 8 hours every night. So he tells his doctor, I don't have a sleep problem. But his wife tells a different story. She says he snores loudly. Sometimes the snoring stops. There's a quiet pause. Then he suddenly takes a deep breath, and it happens again. Robert also feels tired during the day. Sometimes he gets sleepy while watching television. He assumes it's just part of getting older. But this is something worth discussing with a healthcare professional. Sleep apnea is a condition in which breathing repeatedly stops and starts during sleep. It can interfere with sleep quality and may require medical evaluation. Some warning signs can include loud chronic snoring, gasping or choking during sleep, witnessed pauses in breathing, and excessive daytime sleepiness. If any of these sound familiar, don't try to diagnose yourself. And don't assume, it's just because I'm getting older. Talk to your doctor. Because treating the underlying problem is very different from simply taking something to make you sleepy. And now we come to number 7. This one is especially important for people over 50. Look at your medications. As we get older, many people take more medications. Blood pressure medications, allergy medications, cold medicines, pain medications, prescription medications, and some medications can affect sleep. That doesn't mean you should stop taking anything on your own. Please don't suddenly stop a prescribed medication because you think it might be keeping you awake. Instead, keep track of what's happening. Did the sleep problem begin after starting a new medication? Did the dose change? Did you change the time you take it? Write it down. Then talk to your doctor or pharmacist. A simple sleep diary can also be surprisingly useful. Write down when you went to bed, when you think you fell asleep, when you woke up, how many times you got out of bed, whether you had caffeine, whether you drank alcohol, whether you took a nap, and how you felt the next morning. After a week or two, you may start seeing patterns. Maybe you notice that every time you have coffee late in the afternoon, you wake up at 3. Maybe you notice that long afternoon naps make nighttime sleep harder. Maybe stress is the biggest trigger. Or maybe you change your habits and you're still waking up every night. That information can be extremely helpful when you talk with your healthcare professional. And now, let's put all 7 pieces together. Because if you wake up at 2 or 3 tonight, I want you to know exactly what to do. So let's bring everything together. If you wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning, first, don't panic. Waking up during the night can happen more often as we get older. But don't automatically assume every sleep problem is simply because I'm getting old. Second, look at your evening habits. Think about caffeine, alcohol, late meals, long naps, screen time, and your overall sleep schedule. Third, don't stare at the clock every few minutes. You don't need to know exactly how many hours and minutes you have left. That can create unnecessary pressure. Fourth, don't turn sleep into a competition. If you're completely awake and unable to sleep, consider getting out of bed for a little while. Keep the lights low. Do something quiet. Then return to bed when you feel sleepy again. Fifth, if you're waking up repeatedly to use the bathroom, pay attention to the pattern. Don't stop drinking water just because you're worried about nighttime urination, but do talk with your healthcare professional if it's happening frequently or changing. Sixth, pay attention to snoring, gasping, breathing pauses, or excessive daytime sleepiness. Those symptoms can be important. And seventh, review your medications and any recent changes with your doctor or pharmacist. Never change or stop prescription medication on your own. And here's the most important message I want you to take away from this video. If you wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning tonight, that does not mean you've lost the entire night. You don't have to panic. You don't have to grab your phone. You don't have to start calculating how many hours you have left. Take a breath. Let your body settle. And remember, one difficult night does not define your health. But if this keeps happening night after night, and you're exhausted during the day, don't simply accept it. Talk to your healthcare professional. Persistent sleep problems can have different causes, and finding the cause is often more useful than simply trying to cover up the symptom. And please remember, getting older does not mean you have to accept feeling tired all the time. Your sleep may change after 50, but there are still many things you can do to support healthier sleep habits. So tonight, don't try to change 10 things at once. Start with 1 or 2. Keep your schedule consistent. Create a calmer evening routine. Give yourself time to wind down. And when you wake up in the middle of the night, don't immediately tell yourself something is wrong. Instead, remind yourself, my body woke up. I can give it a chance to settle down again. If this video helped you understand your sleep a little better, please follow the channel and subscribe. We create simple, practical health content for adults over 50 who want to stay stronger, healthier, and more independent as they get older. And if you regularly wake up around 2 or 3 in the morning, leave a comment below. It happens to me too. Your comment may help someone else realize they're not alone. And if you know someone over 50 who struggles with waking up during the night, share this video with them. Sometimes, understanding what's happening is the first step toward making a better change. Take care of yourself. Take care of your sleep. And remember, life after 50 isn't about simply getting older. It's about learning how to live better. I'll see you in the next video.